Nancy Diaz was thrilled to learn she was accepted into two state exhibitions in the same week. Diaz, a Village of Piedmont resident, was accepted into the nationally recognized Florida Watercolor Society 2022 51st Annual Exhibits by juror Mark Mahaffey for her painting endeavor. The show will run from September 4 to November 14th at the Visual Arts Center in Punta Gorda, Punta Gorda. Get a chance to go there. Go to the Open Air Fisherman's Market, I think it's called. FWS is the largest state watercolor organization in the U.S. Well, congratulations, Nancy. I'll put a picture of your picture up, even though I've done this before, but I'll do it again. Friends of Sozo Kids is looking for 12 hairdressers or nail polishers for its annual Kids Back to School Bash on Saturday, October 6th, outside at the Ocklawaha Bridge Baptist Church. Hair cutters need to bring their own hair cutting tools. Nail polishing supplies will be provided. They do a lot of work like that for the unfortunates. A villager will lose his driver's license in connection with a golf cart drunk driving arrest which occurred after drinking beer at Sonny's Barbecue at Lake Sumter. You remember this guy, right? His girlfriend, I think, had an accident. She had been drinking, couldn't drive, so she called him to come and pick her up. And he came down here in a golf cart drunk. Police arrested this guy. Well, there you go. He's going to lose his license for a while. Demand and cost for city services amid rapid population growth, inflation, and labor supply chain issues could mean a modest increase next year in Wildwood property taxes. By a 4-1 vote, Wildwood Commissioners Monday set a maximum tax rate of $3 per 1,000 assessed valuation for the 22-23 fiscal year, which begins October 1. The maximum rate would be decreased from this year's rate of $3.25, but above the rollback rate of $2.87. The rollback rate is the amount needed to collect the same revenue as the prior year, excluding new construction, and the amount above the rollback rate is considered a tax increase. Commissioner Marco Flores voted against the maximum rate and said he wants to set the amount at the rollback rate. Commissioners could reduce the maximum rate before the final budget is approved in September, but cannot increase it. I don't know, sound like a bunch of rigmarole to me. A chef at the Village's restaurant has been sentenced to 10 days in jail in connection with a New Year's Day arrest. Austin Tyler Kennedy, 28, of Fruitland Park, was sentenced Friday in Lake County Court after pleading no contest to charges of resisting arrest and driving without a valid driver's license. He'd been driving a gold Chevy sedan on New Year's Day in Fruitland Park when the Lake County Sheriff's deputy ran his license plate. Kennedy bolted from the vehicle and took off running. That's always a good idea. He continues to face felony charges of battery by strangulation and false imprisonment in connection with an arrest in April. At the time of his arrest, Kennedy indicated he was working as a chef at the Farm Shed restaurant at Spanish Springs. An Alabama man has entered a plea in a criminal case after his rooftop arrest last month at the hotel in the Village. You remember this guy, right? And the cop got the fire department ladder to come out there, and he climbed up on top of the roof to get this guy. Jeremy Lee Van Johnson, 23, of Ozark, Alabama, pleaded not guilty in Lake County Court last week to charges of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, felony battery by strangulation, aggravated assault, giving false information to law enforcement, and resisting arrest. He continues to be held without bond at the Lake County Jail. A villager who had been sentenced to anger management earlier this year landed back in jail this weekend after another apparent attack. Nanette Renault, 63, of the Village of Springdale, was arrested Saturday on a felony charge of battery on a person over the age of 65. She was being held without bond this weekend at the Marion County Jail. An Asian restaurant is coming to Southern Trace Plaza in the Villages. Kung Fu Chef's Asian restaurant will be opening at 3437 Wedgwood Lane next to Giovanni's Restaurante and Pizzeria. An opening day for the new restaurant has not been announced. The Villages Woodworkers Club wants some trees removed, but is apparently unwilling to share the cost. Lady Lake Commission voted 3-1 on Monday night to remove 5 like oak trees that are located along the trail between the village's workshop and the Lady Lake driving range on Rolling Acres Road. The trail, which accommodates golf carts, has become too lumpy and bumpy, according to information presented to the commissioners. The argument did not get any sympathy from Commissioner Ed Freeman of Water Oak. They will just have to go a little slower. Freeman was also unhappy to learn the Woodworking Club was not willing to contribute to the cost of tree removal. He cast the lone vote against their removal. I got a hint. Go across the street to Recreation Plantation RV Resort over there. Those people sneak across the street on their golf carts to get on that trail all the time. Have them chip in to help fix it. Real estate consulting firm RCLCO has released the results of its survey of the top-selling master plan communities through the first half of 2022, and once again, the Villages ranks number 1. Lakewood Ranch in Sarasota claimed the number 2 spot overall and is the top-selling multi-generational community in the country with 1,026 sales. Dallas, Texas Silverado has earned the 3rd place rank through the first half of the year with 599 sales. The state of Florida represents about 36% of sales among ranked communities, followed closely by Texas at nearly 34%. A Village of Citrus Grove resident got his first ever hole-in-one. Brian Hurakami got the lucky ace on Tuesday at the Lowlands Executive Golf Course. Well, congratulations, Brian, on your first hole-in-one. I know it's always a good one. Did you buy beer after the game? That's kind of a tradition thing. Walton Global has purchased 171 acres of land in Sumter County for a new development to be known as Hamilton. The land located off County Road 48 near Webster will be dedicated to up to 800 units of family housing. In addition to its proximity to the villages, the attractively priced single-family homes would also be ideal for commuters to Tampa and Orlando, according to Walton Global. The company said the units will be ideal for first-time homeowners. An employee who was terminated from the medical office in the Villages has been arrested in connection with phony prescriptions. Lucy B. Gallatin, 36, was arrested Tuesday at her home in the village of Parkwood on multiple charges of fraud and drug possession. Gallatin was working at Lake Regional Medical Center Urgent Care at Creekside Medical at Lake Sumter when she began forging a doctor's signature to obtain prescription medications, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Department. She had taken a prescription for codeine capsules on May 29th to a CVS pharmacy in Lady Lake and successfully had it filled. Clonazepam on June 13th and July 14th at the Walgreens on Parr Drive in the Villages. The Pittsburgh, PA native was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $36,000 bond. In 2021, she lost her driver's license for 6 months and was placed on probation for 1 year after pleading no contest to a charge of driving under the influence. A grand opening date has been scheduled for the new First Responders Recreation Center. The grand opening is set for Wednesday, July 27th. A ribbon-cutting ceremony at 8 a.m. will start the festival. Memorabilia donated by more than 100 villagers who served as first responders, including firefighters and law enforcement, will be on display at the new recreation center. The total cost of the project, including the acquisition of the property from the First Baptist Church of the Villages, was $7.175 million. The project has been funded by the Amenity Authority Committee, whose members are proud that the recreation center came in on time and on budget. The new recreation center complex includes an 18-hole putt-and-play course, walking trail, fire pit, resort-style pool, and pickleball courts. A villager will lose her driver's license after crashing her car earlier this year in a roundabout. Diane Frank, 65, of the village of Sable Chase, was at the wheel of a 2020 Hyundai Elantra when she crashed at about 4:30 p.m. May 15th in a roundabout on Buena Vista Boulevard and St. Charles Place. The Chicago native was still seated in the vehicle when deputies arrived to the scene. Her eyes were bloodshot and her speech was slurred, and she had strong, obvious odor of alcoholic beverage. Her blood alcohol content was 0.194 and 0.192. Her vehicle was impounded and a water bottle that contained wine was found. Frank had also been arrested in 2016 after egging her ex-boyfriend's house. The American Legion Post 347 on Rolling Acres Road in Lady Lake will be hosting a food drive to help stock the shelves at local pantries. Volunteers will be in a parking lot from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sunday, July 24th, to remove bags of donated items from cars. The donated items will be taken inside and sorted for the local food pantries. Yeah, they do a lot of charity work over there at that American Legion. Actually, in Florida, I think that's the largest membership American Legion in the state of Florida, possibly in all the United States. I forget. Most of the world considers 101 as old, but that is not the case for Alice Libretto and Kelly Maiden. American House in Wildwood celebrate in honor of Alice and Kelly, who are turning 101. A joint birthday party was held on Wednesday. Libretto said she feels 16 again. She was the oldest of 9 children and has worked many careers in her life. Now she enjoys relaxing at American House and is excited to celebrate this milestone birthday. It has good and it has bad. Libretto said how she feels when she turns 101. Every day is truly a gift. She thanks God with her heart and soul for each and every day. She says it's a pain in the neck turning 101. It's a lot of work dragging your body around for that many days. But I have been living a good life, Maiden said. One of the lessons she has learned in life is that think your problems out and do what your gut tells you to do. You'll probably come out just fine. And I've always said that. Trust your instincts. God gave them to you for a reason. To the editor, one of the primary selling points of the villages we first discovered this beautiful community was Katie Bells. I have not found one person in 15 years that disliked Katie Bells, and it was a disaster when the villages closed it down. The idea of revitalizing Katie Bells is an excellent idea, and I'm sure all villagers would support it. That's sent in by Carl and Jean Engelberger, the village of Mallory Square. I don't want to sound critical here. I understand people want Katie Bells back. I understand they like Katie Bells, but the facts of it is not enough people went there to support it. It was losing money, and they've already announced what they're going to do. And so all this rhetoric and talking and keep talking about it, to me, it's like beating a dead horse. You need to move on with your life because it's already been decided what they're going to do there. But you can change his mind, and I'll just say good luck with that. Letters to the editor. I unfortunately had to take my husband to the village's regional hospital. What a joke. Sad and disgusting. He was there 4 days and he came out the same way that he got there. All they did was take blood tests and a few other tests he didn't need. The villages needs to invest and build a real hospital here for us. We don't need more homes and more people if you can't take care of our health. I spoke to other people who had spouses there, and the same thing, no results. My husband's roommate had to be transferred to Leesburg, which I hear is worse. For a heart procedure, he was told this on Thursday. He was still there Saturday. We need a real hospital here with real doctors. The ones who are here are overwhelmed and overworked and don't care. Please build a hospital and quit overwhelming this area with more people. We need more stores, restaurants, not people, and homes. That's sent in by Diane Gizzy, Village of Monarch Grove. Well, Diana, a lot of things you say here is really speculation. I'm not picking on you or anything like that, but it's a fact. When you say things like we need real doctors, well, what do you think work there? You got to be licensed by the state. Those are real doctors. You may not like them, but they are real doctors. And you say build us a real hospital. That seems hypocritical too. The village's hospital is a real hospital. You may not like it, but it is a real hospital. And then you say that the Leesburg Hospital you hear is even worse. This is the thing that I keep talking about. People have got to stop this rhetoric. You hear. You've never been there. You don't know anything about it, but you hear that it's worse. That's just rumor. People around here, they're always talking about something they don't know nothing about. I can tell you this, and I'll tell you what I know for facts. My wife had cancer, and she had to go in for some cancer surgery. It was done at Leesburg, and I was there. I was in the hospital, and I talked to the nurses, and I talked to the operating doctor. The people were fantastic. They treated my wife tremendously well. And you ask my wife, she'll tell you the same thing. Other people I've known that went there, heart attack Bob, had a heart attack while I was playing golf with him. and they came and picked him up, transported him to Leesburg Heart Hospital. That's really the major heart hospital around the villages here. And the ambulance, what he told me about the TV camera that's in the ambulance, the doctor would tell the emergency people what to do and how to do until he gets to the hospital. Once he got to the hospital, this is straight from Bob's mouth. He went right from the ambulance straight into the, I'll call surgery room. He needed to be stented. He had a blood clot that moved to his heart. They already knew it before he got there. He has nothing but good things to say about Leesburg, because within 20 minutes he was stented and was in recovery. I think this is an emotional letter that you've sent to the editor. You should not be saying things if you don't have proof. And for the two hospitals, I'd been to the Villages Hospital, as a matter of fact. I had to go there when I first came here as a resident because I wasn't used to the heat. And it all came out that that's what my problem was. I would get dizzy on the golf courses sometimes when I'm playing golf. I would breathe hard. Man, I mentioned it to my doctor. He'd ask me these questions. He says, "Have you ever got up and felt dizzy?" I said, "Yes." Well, getting in and out of the golf cart on the golf course. That's what I was relating that to. Have you ever had a shortness of breath? Keep in mind, I mowed my own yard when I first moved here. I do not have a self-propelled mower. Dumb me, I should have bought one, but I didn't. I bought a push mower. My grass is so much thicker than it is up in Indiana. It was effort to pull and push this lawnmower around. And then you have to edge it. And then you have to get the weed whacker out. I mean, on a 100-degree day, a 95-degree day with this intense heat, I just wasn't used to it. So yeah, I did struggle with breathing sometimes. Well, after all these tests that they did at the Villages Hospital, I did I can't remember what you call it, a stress test. I went up and did a stress test and got that out of the way. And I did a calcium test and got that out of the way. And there was another test. I had like 3 different heart tests over a period of time. Did come up with the conclusion there was nothing wrong. It was just apparently the heat and me not being acclimated to it. And doctor just says, just keep hydrating, drink a lot of water, which I'm guilty of. I very seldom ever drink water. If you ever look, I'm always drinking coffee, or I'm drinking a beer, I'm drinking iced tea. To me, there's water in all that. And my mind says, I got water. It's in that, right? Well, I don't drink water, and I know I should. I've been to those hospitals that you referred to about being awful. Now, I don't know anything about the emergency rooms there. I have heard rumors about the emergency room at the Villages Hospital. So I won't speak on that because I've never been in that area. But people I know that have been there, they criticize it a lot. Now, when Sue fell and broke her knee and broke her ankle, and I know I'm rattling on here a little bit, we went to one of the emergency centers just around the villages. And I can only tell you, when we went there, they treated us great. The doctor was great. He was very conscious of Sue's pain. Sometimes you have to go through pain to get rid of pain. And he kept apologizing for it. And, he kept me informed. I'm sitting there with her and he kept me informed what's going on. I'm watching Sue wince every time they worked on her. You could tell she was in pain. And so it's not an easy thing. And I do sympathize with the doctors and nurses. They get criticized so much about things that they have no control over. But to say that the hospital is bad, I don't think you're on line there. It's not a bad hospital. Is there room for improvement? Yeah, probably. Name a hospital anywhere in the United States that's not got room for improvement. They all have room for improvement because they're inventing new things literally every day, and so they have to keep up with all this thing. And the Villages does have a new hospital planned to be built south of 44. When it's going to be built, how it's going to be staffed, I don't know. And then, of course, you got the specialist place over there south of Brownwood, right next to the Brownwood Hotel there. We've been there. I've been there. I had to go there to a neurologist. So I've been in that building. And so when you say we need more, we have. Maybe you're just not aware of it. That's all. But thanks for the comment. I know I rattled on and I apologize for it. A man who previously lived with his parents in the Villages has been jailed after his bond was revoked. Richard Brown Street, 42, who now lives in Oxford, was being held without bond over the weekend at the Sumter County Detention Center. Street was most recently arrested this past March when a canine alerted on a vehicle in which he was traveling when it was stopped at the Coconuts Internet Cafe at 13747 US Highway 441. Street was most recently arrested this past March when a canine alerted on a vehicle in which he was traveling when it was stopped at the Coconuts Internet Cafe at 13747 US Highway 441 in Lady Lake. Street was found in possession of methamphetamine as well as syringes. The former Village Palo Ridge resident has a long history of arrests. It sounds like his parents has had enough of him and has asked him to leave. Street was arrested this past July at Best Buy in Lady Lake and told police he tried to steal merchandise because he had no job and needed the money. Street was free on bond when he was arrested April 2021 on charges of driving while license suspended and possession of drug paraphernalia. Street was arrested in 2020 after stealing his mother's Ford Escape from her home a day after his father's funeral. She left the car keys on the kitchen counter. And this guy is a real piece of work. A judge has ordered a competency evaluation for a villager who crashed into multiple golf carts on New Year's Eve at Brownwood Paddock Square. Judge Paul Metello has ordered evaluation for 80-year-old John Paul Topin of the village of LaBelle North. The evaluation will be taken by Stephen O'Neill, PhD, of Tampa. The evaluation will take place this week, according to the documents on file in Sumter County Court. Wildwood Police was called on New Year's Eve to the parking lot behind Dunkin' Donuts at Brownwood Paddock Square to investigate a crash in which a vehicle struck multiple golf carts. Well, good luck, John. I hope everything turns out okay. Bruce Farr of the Villages will be inducted into the National Sailing Hall of Fame, recognizing a lifetime of achievement in the sport of sailing. Congratulations, Bruce. That's quite an achievement. I wanted to be a sailor. You know, everybody knows my story if they watch me. For the first 5 years of my retirement, I had a sailboat picked out. I was going to live on a sailboat for 5 years. Didn't work out for me, but I'm damn glad it worked out good for you. Congratulations, Farr. That is a big accomplishment, and he lives here in the Villages. You will meet some of the most fascinating people that live here that may be your neighbor, and you had no idea. Dave Manx is a 60 survivor with a couple of goals left in life. I want to stay alive and I want to keep singing, said the man who plays keyboards and sings with the band Paisley Craze. The popular 5-member group regularly plays at the Village Squares. They were a vintage 60s form on a recent steamy evening at Brownwood Paddock Square. Paisley Craze possesses a sense of unity and appreciation for the sound of the 60s generation that left an indelible mark on popular music throughout the world. The plague of missing mail and packages has gotten so bad that the Villages has reached out for help from Congress. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio, who has deep connections to the Morse family, recently sent a letter to the United States Postal Service seeking help with the mail problems faced on a daily basis by villagers. The daily run to the postal stations is a facet of life here in the Villages. However, villages are increasingly facing a problem with missing mail and packages, particularly south of State Road 44. The Lady Lake Postal Office, using numerous contract delivery personnel, delivers the mail to the neighborhood postal stations. However, Villages continues to grow exponentially. Residents have less and less of an affiliation with the postal facility located on Teague Trail, County Road 25. Many villagers will be challenged to know where the post office is located. Years ago, villager Evan Richards led the VHA effort for the Villages to establish its own post office. Despite a great deal of effort, the initiative fell short of its goal. The lone post office in the Villages is located on a historic site. It was established many years ago. All right, here's the news report I've been waiting for. Villagers and area residents are cheering the opening of the new Dairy Queen as summer heats up. The new restaurant, known for ice cream and blizzards and all sorts of cool treats, opened this week on U.S. Highway 301 and County Road 472 in Oxford. On opening day, a steady stream of customers were pouring in and out of the restaurants in search of that famous ice cream and well-known fresh-off-the-grill food. Yeah, my favorite there is probably a vanilla cone dipped in chocolate. I wish it was golf cart accessible, though. That's the only thing. I really kind of wish that. To the editor, I'm not looking for any snide remarks. Oh, apparently you don't watch my channel. It's full of snide remarks. Just some simple, honest answers or answers. Got our NSU bill the other day, and our amenity fees has once again been raised, this time to $177 a month. When we moved here, it was, I believe, $145. It appears that it is now to be a regular increase every July. When we came here, there was nothing south of 466A. Now I will conservatively guess there are probably another 10 to 15,000 houses south of 466A, not to mention all those north of 466A. That's a lot of money collected every month. I know there are golf courses and rec centers, but does that really justify this kind of monthly intake from these amenity fees? Who's responsible for doing the math to justify these kinds of raises? Has any governing body actually explained in dollars and cents how much they collect and where it goes? I'm talking a real life audit. And it should be done and published each year so that the residents can see for sure how much is collected and how much is spent on each amenity. If you're going to tell me if you don't like it, move, don't waste my time or yours. That's not an answer to the question. And he is correct about that. Those are just snide remarks that people make all the time. It has no apparent value at all. That's sent in by Lou Maruzzo, the Village of Amelia. Well, Lou, I can tell you where one of the big problems came when I first started coming to the villages at that back in the day. The amenity fee for me was $100 and I want to say $15. And now it's what it is. There was a ceiling on that for ever. In there again, I don't have the exact facts, but I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $150 or $155 tapped out. That was it. No more. It couldn't be raised another dime. Then he wanted that ceiling taken off, which we had to, our supervisors and our commissioners and all that, they have to approve all that. Guess what? Every one of our supervisors and commissioners, as far as I know, every one of them did, said yes. Go ahead, take the ceiling off. As long as we keep getting these things done, take the ceiling off. So you can point your finger to the developer, but our commissioners and our supervisors voted in his favor to allow him to do that. So once that ceiling was taken off, there is no stopping now. Our amenity fees can go to $500 a month in the future. Will it? Oh, I don't know. Maybe after we're long gone, but it can. There's nothing to stop it now. So that's where your problem is. It ain't auditing and all this and that. We had a ceiling cap that our supervisors and our commissioners voted to take off. I would say write a letter to your commissioner. See what he has to say about it, or she. Good luck. A father and son embroiled in a custody case in which the mother faces a criminal charge in Florida's friendliest hometown have been sanctioned in a New York court in connection with the acrimonious dispute. Holly Eileen Finley, 39, of Wayne, New Jersey, is facing a charge of illegally audio recording a 2020 FaceTime conversation with her mother-in-law, a resident of the village of Buttonwood. Finley was in New Jersey when the FaceTime call was placed. Such a recording is legal in New York and New Jersey, but not in Florida. Holly Finley and her attorneys later submitted the recording to the court in New York as part of a divorce and child custody case involving Finley and the village's son, Richard Finley. Earlier this month, a judge in Rockland County, New York, ordered Richard Finley to pay $10,000 to the state of New York as a sanction for lying in court. He was also ordered to pay $10,500 of his estranged wife's additional attorney fees. Furthermore, Richard Finley's father, Anthony, acting in the capacity of his son's attorney, was also ordered to pay a $10,000 penalty to the state of New York for improper actions in the case. The court document also said that Richard Finley has enjoyed free legal counsel via his father for some time now, while Holly Finley does not have access to these resources. Holly Finley's eavesdropping case is still pending in Sumter County Court. Moms and dads, when are you going to quit mollycoddling your kids and make them grow up? Sumter County will hold an Amnesty Day for the collection of household electronics and hazardous waste from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Saturday, August 6th at the fairgrounds, 7620 State Road 471 in Bushnell. The event is free for all Sumter County residents. The following will be accepted at the event: automotive fluids and batteries, herbicides, propane tanks, 25 pounds, cleaners, household electronics, TVs, VCRs, computers, etc., rechargeable household batteries, fertilizers, latex, oil-based paints, smoke detectors. I just threw 2 of them out. Uh-oh. Fluorescent lamps and mercury-containing devices, paint removers and thinners, solvents, fungicides, pesticides, wood preservatives, gas, and old gas cans, pool chemicals. The following will not be accepted: biological infectious waste, explosives, radioactive waste, paint, empty paint cans, and tires. A sex offender from Connecticut has registered a temporary address near the Amenity Recreation Center in the Villages. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is not right. There's something wrong in this state if this is happening, or there's something wrong with the Villages. Somebody's not vetting these homes. These sex offenders, child molesters, any of them, they're not allowed to be within so many feet or yards of a school. Any place children would be, like a swimming pool. And at Amenity Rec Center, that's the family pool. That's where you would take your grandchildren. This character, this numbnuts here, he could be in a swimming trunks and go down there and just sitting around, and who knows what goes through his mind while your grandchildren are in there playing in that pool. Picture of this guy should be all over that pool. Anybody sees him, call the police and have him arrested, period. He shouldn't be in here. And if he is going to be in the Villages, they ought to stick him in the farthest corner, just way back in the back somewhere where he can't bother nobody. Look at this arrogant dick. Matthew Garrett Miller, 26, has registered a temporary address at 3494 Ridgewood Path in the village of Dunedin. According to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Miller's permanent address is in Derby, Connecticut, where he has resided since 2018. Miller was convicted in 2015 in Volusia County of using a computer to solicit or lure a child to engage in sexual conduct. This guy's a predator. They just make me sick. All right, I think that's about it. That's enough news. I got to stitch all this together. This is the 3rd day of me doing this. I did my best to make sure that the hats and things kind of stayed the same. I couldn't remember the hat. So let's get this thing done. You guys have a good weekend. Thanks everybody for watching my videos this week. And hopefully next week we'll have another good week. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed WNL. Hope you came to the show. We have a good time. We always have a good time. And
don't leave your keys in the golf cart.